Hello students, today we will discuss about CEM George's conception of being civilized. आपका हमारा टॉपिक है CEM जॉर्ज का civilization and history. Okay. CEM George tells in his essay Civilization and History that those people who are mostly mentioned gloriously in history are great conquerors and generals and soldiers were those who have really helped in the growth and generals and soldiers were those who have really the general notion is that the greatest countries are those that have defeated and beaten in battle the greatest number of other countries and ruled over them as conquerors. First, conquerors do not make civilization. CEM George tells that civilization are not made by great conquerors and fighters. These people were not a part of civilization. On the other hand, the conquerors, generals and soldiers were just destroyers and killers. It is the animals and savages who fight for their existence like animals and savages. People also fight. Then how can they be called civilized? To be good at fighting is not to be civilized. If human beings fight to grab lands of others or to settle their disputes, they are certainly not civilized. To be good at fighting is not to be civilized. If humans are certainly not civilized, in fact, fighting means killing. On the other hand, civilized people find ways to settle their disputes. They do not resort to killing, hurting, grieving. Their duty is to decide their disputes or satisfy their whims. Next, two world wars. George tells that in modern times we have fought the two greatest wars. In these wars, millions of people were killed or mutilated. Mankind was destroyed on a massive scale. However, it is true that people do not fight and kill each other in the streets. Instead, they keep rules and behave properly with each other in daily life. Nations and countries have not learned to live properly. Even today, most of the people live and behave like savages. Evolution of civilization next. The race of man is only just started. From the point of view of evolution, human beings are very young children like little babies. Only a few months old. Man came into existence just 1 million years ago. There have been civilized men for about 8,000 years. Joad clarifies his point thus: suppose that we reckon the whole past of living creatures on the earth as 100 years, then the whole past of man works out at about 1 month, and during that month there have been civilization for between 7 and 8 hours. The writer suggests that there has been little time to learn in what there will be oceans of time in which to learn better. Human beings are only at the beginnings of its civilized life. We cannot expect much from human beings, but instead of fighting battles and wars, they should perform something better. Let us hope for a bright and better future. CEM Joad is among the most popular writers of the modern age, and he has written a detailed essay on the relation between history and civilization. He tries to explain how history can help in the development of human civilization and what role it has played in its evolution. The present piece is the part of that long discussion. Here he points out that history has been generally confined to the records of various human activities, good and bad, performed by the great persons. Consequently, novel and heroic activities of ordinary person who really helped in the development of civilization. He tries to explain how history can help in the development of human civilization and what role it has played in its evolution. The present piece is the part of that long discussion. Here he points out that history has been generally confined to the records of various human activities, good and bad, performed by the great person. Consequently, the noble and heroic activities of ordinary persons who really helped in the development of civilization have been neglected. Fighting is so no great act because even the savage and the animals also fight, so the fighters cannot claim to the part of civilization. Civilized people do not believe in solving their disputes by fighting, but by some other ways, what was the belief in the past. The winners were regarded right, in fact, war proves that might is right and the conqueror is always right. The two world wars in the present century have been most destructive and we have gained nothing from them. The fact is, the history of civilization is very short and are still like young children. In this sphere, in the past, man has always been busy in fighting and killing. But now we should do something useful and constructive. Most of the people who appear most often and most gloriously in the history books are great conquerors and generals and soldiers, whereas the people who really helped civilization to world are often never mentioned at all. We do not know who first set a broken leg, launched a seaworthy boat, or calculated the length of the year or managed a field, but we know all about the killers and destroyers. People think a great deal of them, so much so that on all the highest pillars in the great cities of the world, you will find the figure of a conqueror, of a general, or a soldier. And I think most people believe that the greatest countries are those that have beaten in battle the greatest number of other countries and ruled over them as conquerors. It is just possible they are, but they are not the most civilized. Animals fight. So do savages. Hence, to be good at fighting is to be good in the way in which an animal or a savage is good, but it is not be civilized. Even being good at getting other people to fight for you and telling them how to do it most efficiently. This, after all, is what conquerors and generals have done, is not being civilized. People fight to settle quarrels. Fighting means killing. Civilized people ought to be able to find some way of settling their disputes other than by seeing which side can kill off the greater number of the other side. And then they saying the side which has killed most has won, and not only has won but because it has won has been in the right, for that is what going to war means. It means saying that might is right.